Today, I'll read you the chapter Musicality Priority versus Technique Priority from my book, The Black and White of Argentine Tango, Both Sides of Tango's Greatest Debates. The purpose of the book is to present both sides as honestly as possible without taking sides. You get the black, you get the white, and then you choose what shade of gray you want to use. Let's start. Musicality priority versus technique priority. Ask almost any tango dancer what they admire most in a great dancer, and musicality will come up almost every time. Ask what separates good dancers from great ones, and technique will be close behind. The debate is not really about whether both matter. Everyone agrees they do. The debate is about which one comes first, which one unlocks the other, and whether chasing one without the other is even possible. Underneath that question sits something more personal. It is about how people believe mastery actually works, and what kind of effort tango deserves from the people who love it. Musicality priority. Tango is a response to music. That is what it has always been. Two people listening to the same thing and moving together through it, choosing which moments to mark, which phrases to let breathe, which emotional shifts to follow with their bodies. Everything else, the steps, the embrace, the technique, exists to serve that response. If you lose sight of the music, you lose sight of the dance. Musicality is not a simple thing. It is not just moving to the beat, though that is part of it. It is the ability to hear something specific in the music, a change in the melody, a pause before the singer comes back in, a shift in the sentiment of the lyrics, and then choose how to express that with your partner. The choosing is everything. A musical dancer is not just reacting, she is selecting, editing, deciding what matters and what to let pass. That is an art, and it is one that technique alone cannot teach. For dancers who put musicality first, there is often a genuine concern about what happens when the focus tips too far toward the technical. They have seen it. Dancers who can execute every figure cleanly, whose axis is perfect, whose footwork is precise, but who seem to be somewhere else when the music swells or breaks or pauses unexpectedly. The technique is there, but the listening is not. And a tango where nobody is truly listening to the music is just movement. It is not dance. The simpler path to musicality is also a real one. You do not need a vast technical vocabulary to respond honestly to what you hear. A small change in the size of a step, a moment of stillness where there was movement, a slight acceleration through a musical phrase, these are available to almost any dancer who is paying attention. And sometimes the most moving dances are the simplest ones, where two people are so tuned to the music and to each other that nothing extra is needed. The dance is just breathing together through the song. There is also something worth saying about what happens when technique becomes the obsession. Classes multiply. Workshops fill up with people drilling combinations and working on their axis and perfecting their pivot. And somewhere in all of that, the music starts to feel like background. The dance becomes a technical problem to solve rather than a musical experience to have. Musicality first dancers are protecting against that drift. They are insisting that the reason for all the work is the music, and that the music should never become an afterthought. Technique priority. In the golden age of tango, nobody talked about musicality, not because it was unimportant, but because it was not a problem. People grew up with tango music in their homes. They heard it at every gathering, every celebration, every quiet evening. By the time they walked into a milonga, the music was already inside them. They did not need to be taught to listen. They already knew how. What they did need was the technical ability to express what they heard. And the standards for that were serious. Men practiced for years, often with other men, before they ever danced with a woman at a milonga. The technique was not something discussed in workshops or broken down in YouTube videos. It was absorbed through repetition, through watching, through dancing thousands of hours before anyone considered you ready. The bar was simply high, and it stayed high because the community demanded it. Today the situation is almost reversed. Musicality has become one of the most marketed ideas in tango. Workshop after workshop promises to unlock your musical expression, to help you feel the music more deeply, to dance more musically. And those workshops fill up because people want that. They want to feel musical. They just hope, understandably, that there is a path to it that does not require years of drilling technique first. But here is what the technique first perspective insists on. True musicality is about choice, and choice requires vocabulary. If you can only express a change in the music by walking a little faster or a little slower, then those are your only two words. You can say something with two words, but you cannot say everything. Technique expands what is expressible, the ability to change muscle tone and create a different quality of movement, the understanding of geometry between partners and what happens when you shift it, the cause and effect relationship between what you do in your own body and what your partners feel in theirs. All of these are technical tools, and all of them are also musical tools, because they give you more ways to respond to what you hear. The deeper point is that technique, when it is truly learned, disappears. It is not something you think about on the dance floor. It lives in the body, below the level of conscious thought, available when you need it, without interrupting the listening. A dancer who has to think about their axis cannot fully hear the music. A dancer whose axis is so trained it takes care of itself can give all their attention to the music. Technique, at that level, does not compete with musicality. It is what makes full musicality possible. And there is one more thing that often goes unsaid. Musicality in tango is never really a solo achievement. What you can express musically depends not just on your own technical range, but on the combined range of both partners. The most sensitive musical impulse from a leader cannot become movement if the follower's technique cannot receive it. The most beautiful musical instinct in a follower cannot contribute to the dance if the leader cannot feel it. The technical conversation between two bodies is the instrument through which the music is expressed. The better that instrument is built, the more the music can speak through it. I hope you enjoyed that chapter of the book, The Black and White of Argentine Tango, both sides of tango's greatest debates. You can find the book on Amazon for worldwide delivery. Just type The Black and White of Argentine Tango and allow yourself to dive deep into Argentine tango's greatest debates.